Why did you join the military?
It was something that I've always wanted to do when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in college. I wasn't sure what I wanted to study, anything like that. So I figured I'll go to the army, and then they'll pay for my college, and
Mm-hmm.
then by then maybe I knew what I wanted to study.
Yeah. What military branch did you serve in?
The army.
The Army. Were you drafted or did you volunteer?
Volunteer.
You volunteered?
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember the most about your experience?
The training, the friendships we made.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite memories when we went to Korea on a training exercise. So we're in Korea, and it was.
You went to Korea?
Mm-hmm. It was fun being overseas, different culture, different. Everything was different. Environment.
Do you have pictures from when you went there?
I probably do, but we didn't have cell phones back then, so.
Oh, in the old
I got it.
days?
Yeah, they're gonna be like in old picture waves.
Black and white.
Not black and white.
What was it like going from military life to returning home to civilian life?
It was when I got out of the army. I started college right away, and it was different because I was more structured, and then college was more laid back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I got used to the colder weather, so when it was cold, I was like wearing shorts, and everybody was wearing jackets. So you can tell your body, took a while to adapt, and your mentality, I was used to a structured environment, and here it's like, go to class one day and then
do whatever you want.
Study or whatever. You have to be disciplined too. So I guess the army helped me out with being disciplined in school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just going to school at the time, so I took it as that's my job, so I'm going to do the best I can. So I just study and study and study.
Mm-hmm. Where were you stationed? Or what places?
Most of the time I was in Fort Hood, but I did training in Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was in Fort Hood. I went to Fort Irwin in California.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were in Korea for the last part, and then we came back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got out.
Did your experience in the military influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Did my experience in the military what?
Repeat that. Did your experience in the military influence your thinking about war or about the military in general? Change your thoughts on the military?
In the beginning, and like most kids think about the military, they think, you're gonna go to war.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, that's a very small percentage, a very small chance that you're gonna actually go to war. Even when there's a war, it doesn't mean you're going to go to war, but you're always training like you're gonna go to war. Like you're preparing, like every day is like, not every day, but every day is like, you gotta be ready. Like, if they call you, you gotta go. But for the most part is you wake up at 6:30 and you do PT, physical training,
Mm-hmm.
exercise for an hour. And then you go, it's like a job. I'm trying to say it's just like a job. Then you come back, and then like about 9, and then you go to breakfast, and then about 9:30 you go to work. So since I was a tanker, most of my job was working on the tanks, like working on
Mm-hmm.
the track and the batteries and cleaning it and checking, make sure everything was working. So for like the first time we do that, and then we go to lunch at 12:30 for like an hour and a half. And we come back and we do training, like little classes or, stuff like that. Or sometimes just back to the
Mm-hmm.
to the motor pools where they had all the tanks.
That had to do with my next question. It was, what activities, like, what did you do in your post?
Tanker, so it was a combat unit. So the military is divided like in administrative. If you're a soldier, sometimes you just work at like in the office or medical field or supplies, or you're a cook. Like I was in a combat unit, so I was basically studying tanks, working on tanks, taking extra classes to learning about the tanks. So you specialize on your tank. So I started as a driver, and then I was a gunner of a tank. So then I got out. I would have been tank commander like if I would have signed, but I got out.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Got to shoot those tanks, and yeah. something not a lot of people get to do, but
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty intense. But good feeling, good rush.
There was good out of it.
Yeah, really good. It was fun.
That's good. Do you still keep in contact with any of the people that you
Yeah,
served
I
with?
do. I have probably about 4 friends that we still, talk. Not all the time, but one from California, and he came over here. He's living here in Brownsville, from California, and then I one from Ohio, and one from Florida, and the other one's still in the military. Like, he just made a career out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys were in my platoon, and actually they were all we were on the same tank, so I guess that's has a lot to do with it. We're in the same tank in a little space. We become pretty close. Because when you go to training, you spend like the majority of time in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So we became kind of close, and we still keep in touch.
You became kind of besties.
Yes, besties. And there's some guy like I trust him. I trust him with with everything.
Mm-hmm.
So see, I guess like when you're training, we might go to war, so
You're
can you
closer. Yeah.
like that saying, like, will you be comfortable going to war with the person next to you?
Mm-hmm.
You had to. You had to. That's it. You go to war. You know who you can go to war with, right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's what it's all about.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Ayala, and thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Woo!